Yo, what is going on, Knicks Nation? Welcome back to another edition of New York Knicks Talk. In this episode, we got CK2K back in the building.
What's
the
up,
Knicks
y'all?
are 5-3, CK.
5-3. I don't want to blow up your fans' eardrums, but we are 5-3.
Say it louder. I don't think they heard you.
5-3.
How insane is that, CK? Welcome back to the show. We should be so excited right now. Terry was not able to join today's show, but don't worry, he will be back in the next edition of New York Knicks Talk. So, CK,
yes,
let's hear it, my man. How excited are you about these Knicks?
Man, so excited that I almost had no voice for today. There was a point.
Oh, I think we lost CK for a sec. I think he'll be back. Don't worry. Uh-oh. CK has left the building, everybody. Don't worry. He'll be back. Oh, he's here.
I did what you did. I did exactly what you did before we started to try to hit the back button. I was like, no.
Don't worry, you're back. I'm like, yep, the same thing happened to CK. I'm like, don't worry, guys. CK's not going anywhere. He's here.
My bad. I'm just excited. That's all I was saying. I almost lost my voice. 5-3, day by day, beat the Jazz. I'm hyped. Let's go. Keep it going.
Keep it going is right, man. The Knicks, how long did it take us to get to 5 wins last year? I mean, we were 4-18 under Fizz before we, right when we fired him. Yep. So it took them, 8 games in, and we're 5-3. And the best part about this Knicks season so far is, even I said it, you guys heard me, all my record predictions videos, I was like, all right, guys, we got to be realistic here. The Knicks schedule to begin the season is really tough. Yeah. And I'm expecting this team to start off really bad and a lot of Knicks fans to get worried at first. And then we're going to get back on track and eventually start turning some heads later on the year. Well, I was wrong. The Knicks are actually playing well right off the gate. So, CK, were you expecting the Knicks to be playing this well this early on in the season?
Come on, man. I can't. No, I was the one that was saying that when we were doing our predictions, I was the one saying that we were probably going to get like 25, 26 wins. Like, no, I was not expecting us to get this hot, this fast. I did expect the Tom Thibodeau effect to definitely be a thing this season, but not to this extent. 8 games in, 5-3, like you mentioned, of our 5 wins, 3 of those teams were playoff. Well, technically, 3 teams are playoff teams. 1 team is supposed to be a playoff team this year in the Atlanta Hawks. No, I would not have believed that we would gone this kind of a start within the first 10 games. And we still, like you said, we still have a bit of a schedule to come. We have the Nets next week. Luckily we got like the Hornets and the Thunder and those kind of teams. But even those, we got to make sure that we can win those kind of games. But no, I definitely was not expecting it to be 5-3 in the first 8 games. I would have been like, probably like 2-6. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're trying to be realistic here.
Right.
And the best part about this is knowing Knicks fans, we are so passionate and we've been so depressed for so many years where we are so overjoyous over a 5-3 start. And some other fan bases are looking at us like, yo, guys, you're 5-3, relax. But you guys don't understand how passionate Knicks fans are and how much hell we've been through. So Knicks fans, do not listen to those guys. We deserve to be super happy and excited that this Knicks team looks like that we are trending in the right direction. So with that being said, let's jump into the breaking news that just actually broke like an hour ago. I just made a quick video on it. And that news is the Knicks have signed Taj Gibson back, and he is reunited with the Knicks organization and also reunited back with Tom Thibodeau. So CK, what's your initial thoughts on the Knicks getting Taj Gibson back in the building?
I like it. I was one of the few that, well, no, there's a lot of us. I don't even say few. I think a lot of people were hoping that he would come back in free agency. But no, yeah, I was one of those that did want him to come back with us. And then especially with Tom Thibodeau, I'm like, yeah, I definitely would love to have him be a part of that regimen. I'm happy. I think it's a good pickup. We are very, very thin at that position to start with all the injuries and everything going on. And I think bringing him back, who A, was already a part of this team last year, so knows the majority of the faces, and B, coming back, like you said, reuniting with his coach, Tom Thibodeau, I think it's a good marriage. And I think it's going to be a good pickup for us in the long run for experience. And also he'll probably give us some more good play.
Yeah, man. And we also waived Omari Spellman in the process, and we never got to see him get some burn. I know CK and Terry were high on Omari Spellman why don't you tell them how disappointed you are that Spellman's
Just
gone?
bummed. I just wanted him to get a chance. You gotta do what you gotta do. It's just I was so bummed. I thought Spellman would be such a good energy for this team, be a lot of fun. Show he could do so much stuff for the size that he is. I was so excited, but injuries and just probably wasn't doing it in practice, and training and stuff like that. So, it is what it is. Just a little bummed.
I feel you, man. But Taj Gibson, what I think he brings to this organization is an immediate veteran presence. He's already the oldest player on the Knicks, because I'm pretty sure we did not have somebody over 30 years of age before Taj Gibson coming in. And as you said, CK, he can be a guy that can come in and provide, first of all, depth behind Mitchell Robinson and Nerlens Noel, because right now Nerlens is battling an injury, and there's all these rumors speculating around Nerlens Noel, which is pretty crazy. And Nerlens Noel is going on Twitter himself and saying, yo, don't listen to these rumors. I love being a Knick. I don't know where all these speculations coming from, but I think it's really good insurance, especially because we are playing such a small amount of people right now because of all the injuries to Obi Toppin and, Alec Burks and Nerlens Noel. We're playing like a 7-man rotation. So to get Taj in the building, I really love that, because first of all, he knows the system of Thibodeau, and he also, which is another thing about knowing the system, is he knows the system so well where guys like Mitch or guys like Obi Toppin can lean on Taj Gibson and say, listen, so what does Thibs really want me to do here? Because Gibson was been with Thibodeau on 2 different teams, with the Chicago Bulls and the Minnesota Timberwolves. So he knows the system more than anybody else.
Right.
So I think Taj Gibson coming into this team is going to be a really big, especially because now that we're good, like we didn't expect to be 5-3, and say we want to make the playoffs and stuff. A veteran presence like Taj Gibson is important. Would you agree?
100%. 100%. And even though we have quote unquote vets on the team already, like you mentioned, these are young vets. You can count Julius Randle as a vet who's played in the league. What is it, 7? No, not even that. Like 6 years, 6 years.
Yeah, and he's 26.
So he's considered fit, but he's 26 years old, right?
Exactly.
Alec Burks is barely almost about to be 30 years old himself, and he's been in the league for a bit too. So to have that guy that, like you said, been in those playoff trenches with Tom Thibodeau, both in Minnesota and for Chicago, it's going to be huge. And the part you mentioned, I think no one really has mentioned, is the Obi Toppin thing. Like, yeah, it'd be great for Mitch because he's probably going to play a lot more 5, but I love what he's going to do for Obi Toppin, because remember, Taj came into the league as a 4, playing the position that Obi Toppin is, and I feel like Obi Toppin can have that kind of same impact, doing a lot of things pretty good when it comes to Obi Toppin, not just being an offensive guy. I think Obi Toppin has the ability to do a lot of things, and that's what Taj Gibson did when he came into the league. So I just think, just as experienced mentor, and even still on the court, I think he's going to be a big push for us in the long run for us. So I think it's a good pickup.
Yeah, me too, man. I think it's going to be a good pickup, and him developing and helping Obi Toppin get his mind right, because unfortunately, let's just talk about Obi Toppin real quick, because there's some Knicks fans that are writing off Obi Toppin right now. And I'm like, bruh, he has played 1 game in the NBA. How can you do that? And their reasoning is, well, look at Julius Randle. We thought that Obi would be the replacement of Randle, and Randle's playing like an MVP, so we don't need Obi Toppin. No, I mean, Julius Randle's a perfect mentor for Obi Toppin as well. So what would you have to say to Knicks fans that are already writing off Obi Toppin without even seeing him play multiple games in the NBA?
I just have to say, don't do this again. It's every year, every draft pick, every person we bring in, it's brought with some sort of negativity, and it's always for a different reason. Frank Ntilikina, because he doesn't shoot, you know what I'm saying? Kevin Knox, because he didn't follow up his rookie year. I mean, there's some I will agree with when it comes to the Kevin Knox thing. RJ Barrett's been getting a lot of hate this year because, he doesn't have a jump shot yet in his second year, and this, that, and the third. And now Obi Toppin plays 3 preseason games and hasn't played since, and now people are ready to write him off for not even playing a single regular season game. It just comes with the territory. I feel like for the Knicks fans, it's like they just need to be proven wrong. I don't know why that's the thought process with a lot of these fans. I think it's just like I say with everybody else, give him time. He hasn't played yet. You don't know. Like, I don't understand why we would jump to that conclusion. The fact that Julius Randle is good is only a bonus for Obi Toppin. Like you just said, that is only a bonus for Obi Toppin. So I don't understand it, but I mean, people are going to hate how they want to hate. That's just
well said. If you guys are new to the stream and you guys are enjoying CK and I going live, talk about the Knicks going 5-3, make sure you run on that like button. And you guys know where to find CK2K. I left his channel down below in the description. So if you guys are not subscribed to CK2K and you're a Knicks fan, I don't know what you're doing. You better go down there and subscribe to my guy CK right now. So let's get into last night's game against the Utah Jazz. Why don't we? Austin Rivers is clutch in the fourth quarter. Holy, I don't even know what type of words I could put up to talk about this man. Because, first of all, before last night, he came up in the clutch against the Hawks and the Pacers, and he hit like 1 or 2 shots. Like, all right, cool, Rivers, awesome. Like, you're a clutch guy.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, after the amazing content we got from him on his off day with his wife, and his wife to stay home and say, no, listen, you've been gone for 8 days. Stay home with me, honey. And he's like, are you kidding me, bro? I'm on the New York Knicks. I got to go get some work in. And then he follows that up, scoring 14 straight points in the fourth quarter. CK, what are your thoughts? And what was I know you were live during the game. What was going through your brain when you saw Austin Rivers hit that last jumper to give him 14 straight points to solidify that dub?
Well, after the first 2 went in, I was just like, yeah, let him shoot everything. He gonna make everything from now on. But the thing was, that last one was the rumbling, bumbling, stumbling, step back one. Where that one, I was just like, yeah, this guy's the GOAT. This guy, like, I all I could think about, and I'm sure it's the same for you, is just like, imagine if the Garden was looking like your background right now. Imagine if the Garden was looking like that. This dude would not be able. He would probably be there until our next game because there's no way he'd be getting out without people trying to give him a hug. Like, you know what I'm saying? COVID or not, everybody would be trying to get a piece of Austin Rivers because the dude, like, it was crazy. We haven't seen something like that in so long. This dude just came out there, no training camp, missing practices because he's been injured, all these kind of things, and he came back like he was never gone. You know, so Austin Rivers just went out there and he's sealing the deal. And yeah, a lot of people who are fans of him from the start are definitely looking like, you know, they were right the entire time. But Austin Rivers came out. He's the reason why I almost lost my voice. I kept yelling because of this guy. It's crazy. And just imagine when Alec Burks comes back, like, we got firepower. When's the last time we could say that, Richie? We got firepower.
Off the bench, we're deep. We're winning with injuries. Right now, I feel like we should be making excuses. We're losing. Be like, yeah, we're losing, but wait till we get healthy. No, we're winning saying wait till we get healthy. Crazy, that's the difference. Man. And shout out to Leon Rose for signing Austin Rivers to a $10 million contract, 3 years. Another big part of that contract is there's no option in between it. Austin Rivers is a Knick for the next 3 years, barring any trade or if they cut him. And I think that he is the perfect team leader we need. He is not an old veteran. He's not a young guy. He's right in the prime of his career at 28 years old. He's been on teams that were really good, been on teams that were really bad. And what did he say in an interview last night? Exactly that. I've been on good and bad teams. This team right here, we are a good basketball team. And this is not the old Knicks that you guys are used to covering. Like, him saying that gets me so excited because he's saying it with such confidence and such a way where, like, yo, Austin Rivers, bro. And I remember when we were first talked on my stream, you said, like, I feel like Austin Rivers will become a fan favorite because he'll have a game where he just lights up the Garden. And I think last night was the game, and I don't think that was the last game. Yeah. So what is your thoughts on Austin Rivers, or what do you think he can bring to this team? And we know that he came to the Knicks because he wants to be part of the turnaround, and he turned down all the other offers to join an already potential playoff team. He wanted to come to the Knicks to turn it around. So how much of that is an impact to this Knicks culture?
That's the biggest part of the culture, if you ask me, because, like, even though his dad, we know the story now, his dad didn't want him on the team so he can go to a different team and play a better version of basketball. But the Sixers were a team that wanted him. Like you mentioned, a bunch of playoff teams were in the hunt for Austin Rivers, and he turned those down because he wants to be a part of a change, a turnaround. And what team needs the biggest turnaround than the New York Knicks? And for him to come here and come in with that, but don't even touch a basketball, don't even wear a jersey, to come in here with that and then follow it up with the interviews he had in the offseason, like, that was already a start. And now for him to do what he's doing already, when right now, Austin Rivers, just like you mentioned with the Knicks being injured, right now, we should be all giving Austin Rivers a pass for like 5 games because of the time he missed. Right now, Austin Rivers he should be missing shots and not playing well and taking advantage of that right now because he should be rusty, but he's not. And he's doing above and beyond already from the beginning, you know what I'm saying? So the impact of this guy on and off the court has been incredible. Seeing this dude, shout out to Coach James, my little brother.
Shout out to Coda the Dreamer. Thanks for the donation, my man. Two fellas that know basketball. I love it. Go Clippers, though. I respect it.
Yeah. Don't listen to him. But no, yeah, for a dude that, you know, speaking Clippers, because he was ex-Clippers. There you go, Coda. But for a dude to come in with that kind of attitude, and, you know, he's not a social media guy like we're seeing the IG videos and stuff like that. But for him to respond to the Knicks IG and try to hype the fans up the way he did, all these kind of stuff, saying what he said in the interview, like those are the kind of things that we need, and then backing it up on the court. It's just so nice to see. And it's the kind of energy that's just going to go from him to everybody else on the team. And everybody's going to ride with that energy. And that's huge, man. It's huge. Part of the culture. The culture word actually makes sense this year, Richie. We've been saying it for 2-3 years, and it never made sense because Fistil was not about it for real. This year, culture is actually a thing, and we're seeing it so far, 5-3.
5-3.
I'm at every sense like that. That's my period.
You guys forgot, we're 5-3, and we're also beating good teams. We're not beating up on bad teams. So there's nobody saying like, "Yo, the Knicks haven't beaten anybody, bro." Like, relax. We beat the Utah Jazz last night, who are a Western Conference playoff team. We beat the Indiana Pacers, who I think are 6-2 right now. We beat the Milwaukee Bucks, who we know who the Milwaukee Bucks are, and we beat the Cavs when they're 3-0.
Richie, I just want to throw it out there. We blew out the Milwaukee Bucks. I just want to put that out there. But please make sure they know what's going on, because I see there's not a lot of there's some Knicks fans that don't understand what we're witnessing. But at the same time, there's still a long season to go, so we don't want to get too overexcited. But then again, like I said, Knicks fans, we deserve to be overjoyous right now because we have not had a taste of victory, and we got to give all the credit to the coaching staff right now. And a big reason for the coaching staff, what they're doing to this man right here, is Julius Randle. He's playing like an MVP so far this season. And I don't know why or how, but I think it's a combination of him getting in crazy shape, him working his ass off in the offseason, and the coaches that are just putting him in the right situations to succeed. So, CK, what do you think is the reason that Julius Randle is playing at such a high level? And do you think it will be for the rest of the year, or is this just a little phase he's in? I think the number one reason is coaching staff. Julius Randle has never had a coach/coaching staff like the one he's had right now with the New York Knicks. Luke Walton's been his coach, Alvin Gentry, who, unless he has stars on his team, he's not known to be a great head coach. Really good assistant, but not a great head coach at that level. And then come to the nightmare of the Knicks and having David Fizdale, having some good coaching with Mike Miller, but even Mike Miller wasn't able to do his own kind of coaching, and to have a coaching staff of not just Tom Thibodeau, but somebody he really knows, and Kenny Payne, Mike Woodson, who's somebody that's going to be the whole staff as a whole, Johnny Bryant, everybody, with him coming in shape, like you mentioned, and then having a coaching staff that knows how to use a player to his talents, I think that's the biggest thing. And this is the reason why I feel like, I'm still team, like we should probably still look and see what he's available on what it looks like on the market. Like, I think we should still be on the lookout, not shopping, but on the lookout. Like, if people are looking to offer for Julius Randle, I still think we're still there, still early in the season. But at the same time, we cannot go away from considering keeping this guy long-term, because if this is the case, how he's playing with Tom Thibodeau and this staff, then this means this could only be the beginning of what could be possibly who Julius Randle truly finally is in the league. I don't want to get too excited about it, but it's just something that we need to consider. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he comes here long term, this might be the guy that people have been waiting to see Julius Randle play like the entire time. So I'm giving the majority of the credit to his work in the offseason, but definitely Tom Thibodeau using him the right way. He's still playing that point forward position that he really wants to do, but he's doing it with a way more efficient rate. Like, this is out of the post, off the elbow. Sometimes he's bringing it up the court fine, but more times than not, it is coming off of a pass and he's dictating from the post. And that is my favorite part about him moving the ball the way he's been moving the ball. So yeah, a lot of it goes to Tom Thibodeau, who we have to remember, who did a good job molding an already good Joakim Noah into the kind of point center that Joakim Noah was too when he was on the Bulls. So yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with Tom Thibodeau, but I'm not going to take any credit away from Julius Randle and the work he put in the offseason, because he definitely did slim down and put some work in this offseason.
Absolutely, man. And another big part of Julius Randle that I kind of forget about, and some Knicks fans do, is like, we look at him as a veteran, but he's 26.
26, man.
So he is not even, like, I would say the prime of a traditional NBA player is around 27 and then going into their early 30s at some cases, maybe beyond. So that's a scary sight that Julius Randle is not even near close to, well, he's close to his prime. He's entering his prime, I would say.
Could be it, yeah.
So my question to you, you mentioned the trade deadline thing. If the Knicks, have a win record by the trade deadline, and we are slated in at, say, the 7th seed, and we look like we're trying to make the playoffs, do you trade Julius Randle because his value is through the roof, or do you flip him? I mean, or you hold on to him and say, I don't know, this is part of the culture we want. Julius Randle, I want Julius Randle to be part of Tom Thibodeau's Knicks for the next decade.
See, and that's the hard question, because you have to also think about this, like, what's the offer? You know what I mean? Like, what if we are being offered a draft pick that's a top pick in this year's draft? It's going to be hard to say no to that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, this guy, Julius Randle, could be a very key part to, like you just mentioned, the future of the Knicks, at least as long as Tom Thibodeau is our head coach. So there's so many aspects to it that you got to think about. Like, you still got to make sure that you're putting the right team together, but also building for the future, so we can stay a good team, not just be a good team for now, like the 2010 through 2013 Knicks. No, we want to stay a good team. Once we get there again, stay up there. So my answer to that is, I wouldn't, if we're in the playoffs, like 6th, 5th seed, and he's still having a 22-point game, like he's still around the numbers he's at right now, but this is further down the line. In my humble opinion, I would say we got to rock with him. It's just going to suck because we could also lose him for nothing. But at the same time, I would want to rock with him, see how he finished out the season, and then, you know, might have to throw some money at him in the offseason. But it really depends on where we stand in the playoffs. If we're like in the playoff hunt, you're like 9th seed, 8th seed, 10th seed, somewhere around there, and he's still playing this well, I think I'm a little bit more okay with moving him then, because it's not like we're really in the competition for the playoffs. If we can get some draft picks out of him, then you got to do what we got to do.
Yeah, and he is in a contract year, but at the same time, we do have a team option.
Right.
So say,
that's right. He has the team option.
So say we want to keep Randle next year for the contract he's in right now. He's on the Knicks in 2022, but then he'll be an unrestricted free agent, and then maybe next year we can trade him then, or if he's really that good, then we can find an extension and hopefully be a reasonable price. So that's an interesting take. That's why Leon Rose in the front office got a lot of work to do, because that's the hardest decision in sports is, do we trade guy? Is he part of our long-term future? And I got trust in Leon Rose. So let's move on to another player on the New York Knicks, who is, in my opinion, and I think CK will agree with me, has had a very impressive start to the season in his second year in the NBA. And that's our early evaluation of RJ Barrett. So he has been a little inconsistent, right? Shooting the ball at least. Let me give me a shout out to my boy V-Man. How's it going, bro? Knicks have another epic comeback win. Your Mets make a huge trade. You must be giddy as a Japanese schoolgirl in anime right now. Yeah, man. The New York Mets got Francisco Lindor, and the Knicks are popping off, and my Jets are getting a new coach. It's looking good for me.
Oh, look at that combo. That's what's up. Yeah, okay.
Man, appreciate it. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, RJ Barrett. So he's had a very interesting season. He's had a very inconsistent shooting the ball, but he's very consistent at doing what he does best and being an all-around gritty player that can crash the boards, facilitate the rock, and play good defense. I think a lot of Knicks fans are on top of RJ and saying he's a bust for some reason because he doesn't have an outside shot just yet. I think that he's 20 years old, and I know CK will agree with me, and the shot will come eventually with him, and he has that mentality that you love. A guy that missed 22 straight three-pointers, you would think would get in his head, but he bounces back in that game against Indiana. When he goes back to Indiana, he was 4 for 5 from 3. So he's a guy that pushes through that adversity, and I am not worried about RJ Barrett one bit. So I'll pass it over to you, CK. What's your early evaluation on RJ Barrett's second year?
Not sure if you guys saw, I put up a very emotional video talking about RJ Barrett. And I'm with you. I'm not worried even the slightest. Not even a little bit. Like, I understand it's being consistent. It does suck because, you know, third pick and, you know, you're hoping that he's making this jump in his sophomore year and blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, like I mentioned in that video, at the very least, he's still shooting the ball. That's not something we can say about a lot of these other guys that are further along than he are. And I use the example of Ben Simmons, who, you know, we're hoping that one day he finds his jump shot, but he's not even shooting them in the game. We can't say that about RJ Barrett. He's 20 years old. The very least, he is taking shots, and they're good shots at that for someone who we know didn't come into the league as a jump shooter. So for him to be taking those shots in game situations, and then you can have a night like last night, or you can have a night like in Indiana, against Indiana, or against the Atlanta Hawks, you know, where the shot is there. So for the for him to have that mentality, have the attitude, and have the want to be better, and still, even when his shot isn't falling, still doing all of the other things, which is what Tom Thibodeau loves so much about him. And I'm right there with him. I'm not even worried a little bit. I'm not. I'm really not, because I've said it before, and I'll say it again, especially seeing the other stuff he's doing. RJ Barrett's literally just a jump shot away from being that guy that everybody's really excited to see. Just a jump shot away. In the paint still does his thing, right? And the defense is picked up this year. The free throws, nobody's talking about how great he's been from the free throw line this season. You know what I'm saying? He is stepping up everywhere on his game. The jump shot will come. Remember, this is his first year using his new jump shot that he fixed up over the offseason, okay? All right, just like you in 2K. When you change your shot in 2K, you expect to just go directly and be good with it all of a sudden. No. Give him some time. He'll be all right. I'm not worried about RJ Barrett at all. Not even a little bit.
Yeah, you should not be worried about RJ, and no Knicks fan should be worried. And the reason why I love RJ Barrett is I just feel like he's meant for New York. His like dog mentality and his grit is like he's a New York Knick at heart. You know, he has everything you want, especially in a guy like Tom Thibodeau's system, where if he's not shooting the ball well, he's giving you so much effort on the defensive end. He's getting in those passing lanes. He's blocking shots. He's playing really good perimeter defense. He's facilitating the rock. He's averaging over 7 boards per game. And that's what's so good about him. He's not a one-dimensional guy that you just he needs to put out 20 points per game. He's not like Carmelo Anthony. Nothing against Melo. I love you to death, Melo. But RJ is more than a one-dimensional piece that's going to put up 20 points per game, as we hope. He's putting up 17 points per game right now. His efficiency is not there. I think that will come later on in his career. And a little news flash for you guys. Not every single player becomes a star right away.
Awesome.
We are so starstruck from the NBA, like a guy like Ja Morant. We're comparing him to Ja Morant because they went second and third in the draft. You can't do that. Look at guys like Steph Curry. He took a long time to become a superstar. Giannis Antetokounmpo was not that good when he came into the league. He took 3 to 4 years to get accustomed to the NBA. And I think that's RJ Barrett's trajectory. I'm not saying RJ is going to be a bum at all this year or next year, but I think he's going to have a slow but gradual career where when he gets to that 23, 24 years old mark, that's when he's a superstar. Bold prediction, I know. But that's
not bold. I'm right there with you. I'll co-sign it with you. I think it's perfect.
You think that, right? You agree?
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
It's going to be the small, like the long process of RJ.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a perfect example using those names, and it's just it might not be in the same exact trajectory, but yeah, I think it's the what you're basically saying is the exact same thing. I think it's going to take some time, and year 4, maybe even year 3, we're going to see who he's truly starting to become. And it took Steph Curry some time. People forget about that already because he turned it around. It takes time for some of these players, and I think he's one of those players as well.
It does take time, and let's get into another player on the New York Knicks who he is in his 3rd year, and he is the anchor of Tom Thibodeau's defense. His name is Mitchell Robinson. For those guys that don't know who he is. Last night, he had 3 blocks and 3 steals. He is, and probably the most impressive stat for Mitchell Robinson last night, 41 minutes. And some people are like, dude, what? 41 minutes? That's not like, what do you mean? It's because CK knows I'm going to say he's staying out of foul trouble. The first 2 years, we kept saying the only thing that will hold back Mitchell Robinson in his career is if he can get out of foul trouble. Here we go. First of all, the reason why he's playing 41 minutes to begin with is Nerlens Noel's injured, so we do not have a backup center at the moment. Taj Gibson coming in will help that out. But Mitchell Robinson is playing such better disciplined defense, protecting the rim when it comes to just putting his hands up, contesting the shot, not getting these crazy, ridiculous ticky-tacky fouls. So what's your first evaluation on Mitchell Robinson in year 3?
He's staying on the court, man. And like you said, the minutes predominantly has to do a lot with the fact that he doesn't really have a backup. But on top of that, like, it was the Hawks game where he had 3 fouls and he was still on the court, and he didn't foul again for the entire quarter because again, we had no backups. But normally Mitchell Robinson, when you get in that 3 foul territory, you're scared, you're worried, like we got to take him out.
He hasn't had over 4 fouls yet this year.
Exactly. But he had those 3 fouls. He played on, and then like we just said, he didn't get another foul for the rest of the game in that same game. So you could tell that he's become a lot more constrained, and he's a lot more disciplined at fouling, and you can see it literally in the games, each and every game, how the first few preseason games He jumping on everything. As soon as somebody pump fakes, he's hitting Y or hitting triangle. He's up in the air. But now he's way more disciplined, and he's getting these shots that he's blocking these shots that we're so accustomed to seeing, at least in the beginning when we first got Mitchell Robinson. So I'm excited for him. And again, you're just seeing Tom Thibodeau, who what he's had, I bring Joakim Noah again, like the ways that he had with Joakim Noah and in the past, he's bringing a lot of that here to Mitchell Robinson, and now that Taj Gibson is going to be in the building, that's even going to help him even more. So, Mitchell Robinson's been great. Stay under control. That's all I need, young kid. Stay under control.
Just another example of great coaching.
Yes.
I noticed that we got a lot of new people in the stream right now. We got around 250 in the stream. If you guys are not already, make sure you smash that like button if you guys are enjoying the dynamic of CK and myself. We are giving you guys the best Knicks content that we can possibly imagine because the Knicks are good. Are we
5-3?
We're 5-3. For people that were not here in the beginning, CK and I were screaming at you guys just reminding the Knicks fans that we're 5-3. So let that sink in. Again, if you guys are not subscribed to CK2K, I'm assuming you all already are, but it is down below in the description to make sure you check out my guy CK2K. And again, smash that like button if you are new to the stream. We have 230 people watching, around 90 likes. Let's get that over 100 for this duo. And we're missing out on Terry. He is living the life right now in Hawaii. Good for him. But here, don't you guys worry. So I want to bring up something that might be not a concern, but it's something that Knicks fans should put into perspective, because when we first hired Tom Thibodeau, the one thing that people said negatively about him was he is a guy that is known to run his players dry. So should Knicks fans be concerned about his rotations? Because right now he's playing 7-man rotations. And granted, the reason is of injuries. We have a lot of people that are injured, so our role players are not out there, such as Alec Burks, who was a really good guy off the bench, Frank Ntilikina, Obi Toppin, Nerlens Noel. So those are 4 guys that cannot come off the bench. But I think Julius Randle and RJ Barrett lead the league in minutes per game. So should we be a little concerned about Tom Thibodeau's rotations and how he's just letting our top players play every single minute for the long term in terms of this season?
Oh boy, this is such a tricky question.
It is.
I mean, just from knowing basketball, I am a little concerned. But at the same time, you also want to use the argument that, what do we talk about the entire live? We don't have many players over 30 years old. You want to continue. They're young. They should be able to go out there and play those minutes, especially a guy like RJ Barrett. But at the same time, it's a worry. It's hard not to worry about it, because you don't want the long-term effects of them playing all these minutes, where their bodies just start to break down. And, sure, we'll be good this year, but then God forbid we find out like next year, like say we bring back Julius Randle, beginning of the season, Julius Randle's having all kind of knee issues and stuff like that because he can't play. And it had to do with the fact that he was playing all these minutes in the season prior and stuff like that, So it's a little bit worrisome. I'm a big fan of like the 10-man rotations, especially in the regular season. I think that you should have a big rotation throughout the regular, because it's just a long season, 82 games, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like you should be playing a lot of the players have a backup for each position or whatever you need to do. That's just my personal opinion on it. But with Tom Thibodeau's experience and with his success, this is how it's always been: 8-man, 7-man rotations, and it's just I don't see how that's going to change at all. Especially now that this is one of the youngest teams he's ever coached in his career, I don't see how that's going to change at all. So to answer the question, the concern is definitely there. More so for the players like the Julius Randles and the Elfrid Payton, stuff like that. I know a lot of people have the concern more so in the fact that some of the younger players are falling out of the rotation. Like people were, even though Elfrid Payton played pretty solid last night, people were upset because Quickly only played 5 minutes. Knox, who had a early 7 points, he only played like I think 18, 17 minutes or whatever. I think it just comes with the territory. He plays the hot hand, and that's just how Tom Thibodeau has always been. So am I concerned? Yeah, I'll be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit concerned. But at the same time, at this point, I trust Tibbs. I trust Leon Rose. I trust what we're doing as an organization. 5-3, Richie. 5-3. So
yeah, again, we're 5-3, and we're winning basketball right now. So I don't want to make it seem like CK and I are saying like, "Yo, this is not good. We're 5-3, but we might be burned out at the end." It's just a realistic thing that has been known to be Tom Thibodeau throughout his career as a head coach, whether it's in Chicago or Minnesota. He ran Jimmy Butler dry. Karl-Anthony Towns complained about his minutes because he felt like he shouldn't be playing too much. But I honestly don't think it's that much of a concern, just because, like you mentioned, CK, our team is so young. And I think a guy like RJ Barrett could sustain the minutes and play 40 minutes per game, which is ridiculous at the same time. But last night, Elfrid Payton, he played 41 minutes. And that did not sit well with a lot of Knicks fans because Thibodeau only played quickly for 6 minutes, like you mentioned as well. So let's get into Elfrid Payton real quick because I think he deserves some credit from last night. Listen, I am not an Elfrid Payton fan. I don't think CK is either. I don't think.
No, I am.
You are.
I'm gonna say now. I've been an Elfrid Payton defender.
Okay.
He made me a little mad, but I've been an Elfrid.
So CK is an Elfrid Payton defender. I've always been on Elfrid Payton on my channel, and a lot of Knicks fans are here and there. But last night, in my reaction video, I gave Elfrid Payton all the credit because he played really good. 22 points, 8 assists, 10 for 15 from the field. That's what you want from your point guard, right? But he's one of those guys where he does something off, and then you're like, get him out. We want to
kill him,
get him out. Or does something good. You're like, all right, cool. It's kind of the replacement of Randle last year. So what would you say to Knicks fans that are really on top of Payton? Because he deserves his credit from last night because he played a really good game, and I think he's a big reason we won that game.
Yeah, and I just also want to say, I've been on the Elfrid Payton train. I have the receipts. They're over there, and even when people were going and after him, I was one of the people that was starting to turn on him because even I couldn't admit that he was not playing well earlier on, but then we saw it turn on. But Elfrid Payton, I just feel like he just has that. It's just that. What's the word I want to use? Like that. He's blocking the person that the people want to see. I think that's mainly what it is, more than what Elfrid Payton's doing on the court. It's just the fact that people know that Immanuel Quickley is who we want to see. He's the guy that should be on the court. Immanuel Quickley is the franchise point guard. Blah, 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 blah. That's what everyone's saying. So now this Elfrid Payton guy's out there playing 40 minutes when my guy Immanuel Quickley's on the court. He makes 3 shots in a row. That's cool. Gets a turnover. I see. This is why I knew Elfrid Payton should get that. That's how it goes. And it's been like that for a long time. I remember with Frank Ntilikina, I was one of those guys. Like when Ramon Sessions and Jared Jack was out there, I was so pissed. I'm like, why are we playing Jared Jack so many minutes when we got this dude we just drafted 8th overall and he plays good defense? So I just feel like that's just how it's always been with the Knicks, whether it is Dennis Smith Jr., Frank Ntilikina, Immanuel Quickley, whoever it is. Whoever's in front of them taking their minutes away, they're gonna hate on them, and that's just how it's been. And I feel like there's nothing he could do about it. I don't know if there's a remedy for that other than just Tom Thibodeau just being like, "Fine, you guys win. Here's Immanuel Quickley." That's not gonna happen. I'm telling you right now, that's not gonna happen because, like Richie just mentioned, Elfrid Payton's playing well. We got to give him the credit where the credit is due. I understand that, we've seen in the past, especially in the preseason and earlier on the season, he wasn't doing a lot of the things. He's shooting too much, this, that, and the third, which all that is maybe true. But last night in our stream, one of my homies, his name is Powell, he gave Elfrid Payton the nickname General Powell. General Payton for a reason because he was out there being a floor general for the team, whether you wanted to see it or not. When there were situations when we were getting out of control, he brought it back in and he was giving us some nice little cheap little floaters in the game, and we started getting the offensive flow again. He was, finding the open. He turned down Julius Randle in some situations because he was shooting too much. Like he was doing the right things, and unfortunately, because people want Immanuel Quickley, like you mentioned, the negatives are way louder than the positives when it comes to Elfrid Payton, and I don't know if there's anything that he can do to change that. It's just the way it's going to be because everybody just wants that John Morant, LaMelo Ball. Like they want their young starting point guard to just be out there at all times. We don't want to see bum Elfrid Payton out on the court. But like you said, give Elfrid Payton his credit. He played really well. He was a very big factor to us getting back into that game, and Austin Rivers just sealed the deal for us. So.
Yeah, seriously. And I also realized Tom Thibodeau speaks very highly of Elfrid Payton. So I don't think he's going anywhere in that starting point guard position for a long time, bearing any injuries, obviously. And Payton deserves his credit, and he plays well. He's been playing well ever since his terrible first 2 or 3 games it was in the year. So ever since he turned it around when he had that breakout performance, he's been playing good basketball. His averages are what you want to see from the starting point guard. He's playing good defense. He's known for his defense. And he's facilitating the rock, and he's playing good. I feel like Knicks fans should be a little more accepting about Elfrid Payton, including myself, because I was definitely one of them, and I would admit it, where I'm one of those people that are like, yo, like, give Quickley the minutes. Like, Payton doesn't deserve it. He puts up a shot where he forces it, and I'm like, ugh. And then he hits 5 in a row, and then I'm like, cool. But then I'm like, wait,
Yeah,
that's
man.
a good thing. Like, I got to snap out of my quickly desire, because that's the reality of Knicks fans. We want to see the young guys of the future instead of now. But if we're in a win now mindset, then Payton deserves the minutes because we're 5-3. CK, you want to say that again?
I'm sorry. What was that? We're what?
5-3.
Oh, that's right. We're 5-3, huh? That's
I just want to remind you.
I forgot.
I don't know if the people in the chat forgot or something.
That's crazy.
And we're about to be 6-3. Excuse me. Let's get into our guy, Kevin Knox.
Yes.
So CK is known to be a Kevin Knox guru, and I have been one since we drafted him as well. And he is another guy that half of Knicks fans think he's a bust, half of them are behind his back. So what is your early impressions on Kevin Knox coming off the bench under Tom Thibodeau?
I mean, it makes sense. The thing is, like, these players play so well off the bench. I'm guilty of this, and I get calmed down all the time in my comment section. I get so guilty of, because they play so on the bench, I'm just like, start them. But then it's like, no, if you start them, then that gets rid of the continuity. I'm like, okay, you're right, because like Emmanuel quickly had his game. I'm like, start him. Like, put Kevin Knox in the start line.
Yeah,
like,
I tweeted out when Bullock was questionable. It's like, start Knox.
Yeah, I was right there with you. I was like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I do that all the time. But I think that he's playing well in this role, to the point where, like we talked about a long time ago, just because he's not starting doesn't mean that he could not be getting starting minutes. There was a few games where Kevin Knox was playing 35, 33 minutes in the game. He was like leading some of the – he had more minutes than Elfrid Payton and I think Reggie Bullock, who were in the starting lineup. So just because they're not starting doesn't mean that he might not get starting minutes. So with all that being said, Kevin Knox has been – just like the theme of everybody on this team, Elfrid Payton, Julius Randle, he's been stepping up all of the bad parts of his game. People wanted him to be more aggressive. He's being aggressive. In my opinion, I've been saying I want him to play the 4. I know a lot of people probably aren't there. I've been wanting Kevin Knox to play the 4, and the main reason is because I feel like he is now, outside of now that we got Taj Gibson back, he's our best screen setter on our team. Like, Julius Randle doesn't set great screens. Mitchell Robinson, he stares and then moves away. He doesn't really set screens. Kevin Knox has been one of our best screen setters on this team, and I think that also plays into why it made quickly, and it just makes so much sense for that second unit. There's so many things outside of him shooting a basketball into the hoop that Kevin Knox has been doing so much better this year. And on top of that, the defense, who it's still not completely there, but it's better. One of the best plays of the end of that game was his block and transition pass up to who was it? Was it Payton?
RJ for the dunk?
Was it RJ Barrett that did the, oh, that's right. RJ, yeah, that's right. Because he did a little step big. Yeah, it was RJ Barrett. That's right. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's doing a lot of little things well, and I feel like that is where he needs to that's what he needs to do first. The points will come. We know that Kevin Knox is a scorer. That's the one thing that was on everybody's scouting report when he got drafted. We know that he can score. We've seen it sometimes this season. But as long as he's continuing to do the other little things well, and he has been off the bench, Kevin Knox, I'm really excited about whether he is just a role player for this team or whatever it may be. I think we're getting more out of Kevin Knox than a lot of people probably were expecting. So I'm always going to be giving my props to Kevin Knox, but I also do call it out when he's not playing well. Just because I'm a fan, I'm going to call him out when he's not playing well. But right now, I feel like he's been on a good groove. Like I said yesterday, he was one of our better scorers when we weren't scoring in that first half with 7 points, but then we turned around that second half. So I think Kevin Knox has been doing well for us this season. Yeah,
I mean, the most impressive part about Kevin Knox's game to me has definitely been his defensive effort.
Yeah,
we know that he's not a good defender traditionally, but we want him to put effort in. And that's called coaching. That's called Tom Thibodeau's heart that everyone keeps raving about.
Yep.
Kevin Knox, like I said, he's not the best lateral quickness guy on the perimeter, but you see the effort. He had that phenomenal block, and he saved it on the inbounds. And it feels like every single game, Kevin Knox has one of those 1 or 2 plays that sparks us to win the game. The game against the Hawks, where he hit that buzzer beater at the end of the third quarter. Mm-hmm. Whenever I watch the game with my dad's, he loves Kevin Knox's jump shot because he's like, I've never seen a jump shot from 3 with that much arc. I mean, it's a beautiful shot, and he deserves to shoot a little more. I think. I'm not a fan of when he's on the floor and he just doesn't get the ball in his hands, because he's a guy that needs somebody to create the offense for him. Yeah. And I love when Quickly's on the floor with him. Yep. Randle does find him at times, but he doesn't get as much offensive looks as I personally would like. He tries to drive to the rim and be aggressive this year, which I like. And I want to see him get more involved in the offense because he is an offensive threat. And when we drafted him, we expected to be that 6'9" guy that could be an offensive guy that can shoot the ball from 3 and drive to the rim and have those floaters. but I feel like he's not shooting the ball as much as he should. I think the more he shoots, the more he gets comfortable, the more confident he gets, the more we'll see Kevin Knox have a phenomenal season. So let's just talk about how much of an early impact this entire coaching staff has imprinted on the New York Knicks, because this team has just been blowing us away from day one. I mean, first of all, we started 0-2, and after those first 2 games, we were probably like down in the gutter, like, all right, guys, another dark season for the Knicks. But we turn it around. We win 5 of the last 6 games.
Yep.
So what is it about this team that's making them so successful? I personally think it's the way that they are closing the games. It is a real basketball team.
Crazy,
if you want to be a competitive team in this league, you need to show up in crunch time. And another big factor is the third quarter. We have, in traditional Knicks fans, for the Knicks in general, the previous years, we are known to have a lead going into half and then blow it in the third quarter. Now, whether we're winning or we're losing, we're having really good third quarters. And that's so important because it gives you momentum into the fourth quarter. And I just love the overall grit from the squad and how they're all playing together as a unit. And whenever there's 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, it just seems like they completely lock in. Like, all right, guys, this is what we've been practicing. We saved all of our energy up for this exact moment. Let's play lockdown defense for the last 5 minutes. Would you agree on that? And what do you think is the biggest thing about this coaching staff?
That's it. I think to everything you just mentioned, that it's coaching. Coaching is the big part, because in the past, and it's way obvious now, the halftime speeches from David Fizdale probably just was not cutting it. You know what I mean? And now, like you said, they come out with a new type of energy every time, whether we're down by 12 points or whether we're up by 5. The third quarter is not the third quarter of doom anymore. This third quarter has been our friend this season thus far. You know what I'm saying? That has to do with coaching. And then on top of that, something that we're not used to is, like, before, if we had leads, like, even if we started going, the other team started going on runs against us while we had that lead, there was no kind of control or adjustments or anything like that. Tom Thibodeau, if we have like a 12-point lead and then the other team hits 2 buckets in a row, Tom Thibodeau is calling a timeout and he's tearing them up. And then you see the Knicks end up turning it back around. So the way that Tom Thibodeau coaches these guys, letting them know that no lead is safe. He even said that in the postgame, whether we're up or whether we're behind, no lead is safe. So he continues to coach these guys to play that way. So if we're down by 18 points, their lead is not safe if we turn around and do the right things. If we're up by 18 points, our lead is not safe. We have to continue to play as if we're down by 18. I love that Tom Thibodeau coaches with that mantra. So to me, the biggest change outside of just it has to be the coaching, because then it forces the players to play as aggressive as they play. I think it all comes from coaching down for sure. And because that's literally the biggest change that's happened is our head coach. And we finally got a head coach that is never pleased. And that's my favorite thing about Tom Thibodeau. That man is never happy. We are talking about 5-3. We could be 8-0 and Tom Thibodeau would still be pissed off. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
I love every single second of that as well. Whenever we're up by 10 points or something, we give up 2 straight buckets. Timeout. Are you kidding me? Rips off his mask, barking at the officials, barking at somebody on the Knicks. It is absolutely amazing. I've noticed that we have just under 400 people in the stream right now. That is phenomenal. If you guys are new to the stream and you have not hit that like button, make sure you do so. And again, if you are not subscribed to my guy CK2K, make sure you do so. That is down below in the description for his channel. One of the best, if not the best, New York Knicks content creator on YouTube.
Stop it.
I'm going to put, CK, I'm putting you on the spot right now.
Oh, God. All right.
What is your updated record prediction for the Knicks? Because I'm trying to think back to our prediction when you were on the stream, I think a couple weeks ago before the season started. And I think we both settled on around 25, 28 wins.
Yeah.
Now give me your updated record prediction.
Oh, man.
You have the mindset of, if you get this right, you get a PS5 for free.
Golly. Yeah, I think you said 20. I think I said 27. I was right behind you. Because the thing is, like, I've been saying it in every single one of my videos. I'm taking this day by day. We win, I enjoy it. But man, I really want to up it to 500, but I feel like that's way too much of a jump.
Here, before you get into your rec prediction, as you think about it, we got a donation.
Oh,
Love
thank you.
both
Saved
of
by
your
the ball.
battles, TK and Rich. What do you guys think about Mitch's potential? I think Mitch is not shooting threes. I think if Mitch is not shooting threes, he could be a great passer like Noah. So that's interesting. I imagine Mitch becomes Joakim Noah and starts becoming a facilitator. Thank you for the donation, my man. Appreciate that a ton. And yeah, I mean, me and CK, we went deep into Mitchell Robinson and his early impact. And I think it is strictly because of him staying out of foul trouble. And he is just honing in on the coaching staff, and he is playing phenomenal. And that's a really good thing you bring up of him potentially being a Joakim Noah in terms of being a playmaker. The only thing I would say is I think Julius Randle is doing that role.
Yes.
So would you agree, CK?
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to add to it. I think you just hit it right there. I don't know if I see him as the passer. I know he every from time to time he makes some nice little dimes from time to time, but I don't know if I could see him being that type of role like a Joakim Noah. I think more so on the defensive side, yes. On the offensive side, I don't know, because yeah, like Rich just said, Julius Randle's doing such a good job of that, of passing the ball from the post, sometimes bringing the ball up. I see Julius Randle doing that more so. My thing is, I really wanted. I know we got Taj today. I was really hoping that we would get Tyson Chandler, because what I do want Mitch Robinson to add to his game would be the tip out rebound. Could you imagine? Because there's some times where, because he's still putting some strength on. He's young. We gotta give Mitch Robinson some time, but he tries to bring down the ball sometimes, and every now and then you see like the small player run away with it, and Mitch Robinson doesn't have the rebound. Can you imagine Mitchell Robinson just mastered the tip out rebound? Like Mitchell Robinson would be a 12, 13 rebound a night kind of guy. So that's just my thing. But as far as the offense, I've already come out and said I'm not, because he said, what do you think about Mitch's potential? So I'm assuming that's offense. I'm not crazy about the shooting. I don't think that's Mitch's game. Even though he has all those footage and all those videos and whatnot, I just want to see him shoot the mid-range shot. I think that's something definitely he could have. But again, it's like, if maybe that, but at the same time, I mean, did DeAndre Jordan ever get a post game? I don't think he has a post game, and I see a lot of similarities with Mitchell Robinson with him and like a Marcus Camby. Neither of those guys really had post game. They're more like the second chance scorers or nice alley-oop kind of guys. So I don't know if they're. I mean, maybe there's still time. Kenny Payne, come on now. But I definitely think like a mid range would be something that he should be a little bit more comfortable shooting, because he's got all that damn wingspan. Use it. But I don't know. Post game, I don't know if I could see that coming in his bag at all. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. So there's a lot to get into about Mitch, and I think we have not even seen his potential yet. We're only in the beginning stages. Again, for those of you guys who want to put in perspective how young Mitchell Robinson is, I was born on the same exact day as Mitchell Robinson, April 1st, 1998, 22 years old. So look at me. I look way younger than I'm 22 probably to most people. So that's how young Mitch is. So give him time to develop his physical body. As I throw the question right back at CK of what his updated record prediction is, I gave him time to think about it.
Yeah.
And now we are going to record this so we can put CK on the spot after the season to see if he gets it right or wrong.
All right. You know what? Because our boy Terry's not here, I'm gonna play the Terry game. What Terry said when we did our predictions the second time, he said, you know what? I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to have fun with it. And I know if Terry was here right now, he'd be like, the Knicks are winning. We're doing good. I just want to keep that same energy. So you know what? I'm going to go. So I'm going to roll with Terry on this one. I'm going to take the Terry energy. And you know what? Yes, I am buying in. Was it 72 games? Oh, man. Oh, boy. All right. Give me, of the 72 games, what's that in half?
60,
yeah.
36.
36. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, give me 33. I'm going to step up. I'm going to go 34. Give me 34 wins this season. So we'll be right. Well, we won't be quite 500, but we're going to be right. We'll be right around.
And that's the playoffs. That's the playoffs.
I'm not saying the P word. You saying the P word. I'm not saying the P word. I will not say the P word. But
I'm saying if 34 wins is the record, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 34 wins. Yes, that'll be And you can turn it into play-in. You can turn it into the P word. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying the number. I'll go 33. I feel confident. 33. Give me a good old round 33. 33.
Okay, I like that. You're playing it safe, which is reasonably so, because as we know, the New York Knicks are known to break our hearts. But I'll say my record prediction is a little more bold. Well, not really, because it's like one more game that we win. I'm giving us an even 36-36 record.
Okay.
And I think that this Knicks team showed to me so far, and I think the only reason we can do this is if we stay healthy, because if we keep up the entire team getting hurt is not going to be good. Luckily, our starting five, knock on wood, has been healthy throughout the entire season, but the bench is getting banged up. So if we can get healthy and we sustain this energy going forward, and after what I've seen in the first 8 games in terms of beating good teams, that's what's giving me the most confidence that we can do.
Yeah.
If we were 5-3 and we beat teams like the Pistons and the whatever bad teams there are in the NBA, and we are beating them up, then it would not feel as good. But since we are beating good, like playoff caliber teams, that's giving me confidence that we can continue this and we can still beat really good teams around the league and shock a lot of people. Do I think we're going to beat every single good team? Do I think we're going to beat every bad team? No, we're going to lose against a team where we should have won this year, and we're going to lose against really good teams. That's just the way of basketball. It's just natural. You know what I mean? Like we blew out the Milwaukee Bucks. Are we better than the Bucks? No, we're not better than the Bucks. But that's what I'm trying to say. That's the game of basketball. And I think what the Knicks showed me in these first 8 games is a team that can compete with anybody. And the biggest reason for that is Tom Thibodeau is instilling a confidence in this team that they can go out there and win every single game. Julius Randle talks about it. He raves about how Tom Thibodeau is giving the players a game plan to approach, and it is working to perfection. And another thing about Tom Thibodeau I want to talk about real quick, Austin Rivers and Elfrid Payton, they were talking about it in an interview before yesterday's game. They were saying if it's either Tibbs' way or the highway. So you're not getting minutes on this team unless you're buying into what Coach Thibodeau is speaking. And I think that that's a really good sign, because it seems like the guys that are buying into Thibodeau's system, it's benefiting them to their highest potential. So CK's record prediction is 33 and however many losses that is, 33 and 38.
38, yeah. I feel confident. I like that. Yeah, give me a round Patrick Ewing. Give me a round Patrick Ewing.
Okay, around Patrick Ewing. I'm going a little more bold, and I think the Knicks will finish 36 and 36. Maybe a week from now we'll go live again and we'll give our updated record predictions every single week. It's gonna go either more up or more down, or we're staying put. Yeah. But it's hard to predict these things, so don't come back here months from now and comment down below saying that we are not smart, because it's predictions. They are very likely to be incorrect. So wow, we have just under 400 people again in the stream, and we're coming up towards the end of the stream. CK, just want to thank you again for always taking time to join my stream. It's always a pleasure. Terry, if you're watching this, hope you're enjoying Hawaii with your girl, and I hope you're enjoying the Knicks in Hawaii, because that's pretty fun, being on a vacation, sitting back, watching the New York Knicks play good basketball. So to finish off the stream, I just want to quickly go over our final expectations for the Knicks throughout the regular season. No more, not record predictions, just can they keep this up? Like, can they?
Question.
Like, that's the big question. I'm watching all these national media people. Alan Hahn joined. I forget what the show was. It was Keyshawn Johnson and all those guys.
Jay Williams and
yeah. And Jay Williams was like, the Knicks are not keeping this up. And then Alan Hahn is literally us. He's like, are you kidding me? The Knicks, I love Alan Hahn. He's like the greatest guy ever. And he was defending the Knicks, saying that they will keep it up. And then guys that are not Knicks fans in national media are one of those saying, like, they're 5-3. Like, the Knicks are not going to keep this up. Like, so what's your take? Trying to be as realistic, I know you will be, but will the Knicks keep this up throughout the regular season, or just like a little? Or are they kind of teasing us? Like, I don't know how to ask the question, but you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah,
no, I completely get what you're trying to say. And I've been because that's the question I get asked all the time. Can we keep this up, CK? I need to know. And obviously, I don't have the answers, but in my opinion, I feel like I think Julius Randle will finish the season with close to the numbers he has right now. Maybe not the percentages, because we already seen the 3-point shot not hitting the way it was at the beginning of the season. But as far as like the overall averages, I don't see it falling that far from where he's at right now. What's he? 22, 12, what's his
22, 11 and 7, maybe.
Yeah, why does that sound realistic? To me, that for how he's playing, I think that what's Thibodeau going to just stop coaching like how he's been coaching randomly through the season? I don't see, like, if he was averaging 28, 15, and 8, like, that's a different conversation. I think 22. He's averaged 22 points before with the Pelicans. I don't think that's unrealistic. So, and I think probably the biggest numbers that we should expect to drop are like Alec Burks and Austin Rivers. I don't think they're going to continue to shoot the way that they've been shooting. But as far as the way we've been playing, I think after this win against the Jazz, and maybe this is probably as bold as I'm going to get, I think what we're seeing now is who we are for this season. Whether that means that comes in losses or whether we're not winning the games like we're winning right now and it comes in losses, I still think that we can finish in the top 15 in defense. I think that, we can finish with the kind of percentages we're shooting right now. I think that those kind of practices by Tom Thibodeau will not go anywhere. So I think there might be some slight changes, but at the same time, one thing I do not expect to go away is how hard this team is going to be playing from now till the end of the season. So to be completely honest, I feel like we are seeing who we are for this season. Whether it turns into wins and losses, that's to be seen. But I think I think this is the team. I think this is it. I think this is who we are. I think we are a team that's going to play hard each and every night. Right now it's coming in wins, but it might not come into wins when we play like Lakers or Clippers and stuff like that. But at the same time, we're gonna play defense against them. I mean, we stopped the Atlanta Hawks, who all they do is shoot threes from. They put 141 on the Nets. We know they don't play defense, but we stopped them to barely get over the 100 mark. They didn't even get to 100. I don't even remember. I don't think they even got to 100. Oh yeah, they did. They did. Sorry, but I think that what we are right now is who we will be for the entire season. I just think a few percentages will go down a little bit, but I feel like what we are right now, this is who we are.
Yeah, man. And the craziest part about all this Knicks success that I've mentioned already is we're not healthy yet. So just wait till Alec Burks gets back. We get to see our rookie Obi Toppin and Frank Ntilikina off the bench because he looked impressive to me, at least when he was getting his minutes.
He's undefeated.
So it's just going to be a really fun season for the Knicks fans because we've been watching every single year. This is the year 8 seed. And then it's just, all right, halfway through, tanking. So it's like, I think this is the year where we can really expect a competitive team that has heart and just be really appreciative of the change of the culture because it all stems down from the top. Yes, no one likes the owners in Dolan, but he hired Leon Rose, and Leon Rose is the active president that will turn this organization, whether good or bad, and he's going to be making all the decisions. He hired Coach Thibodeau. Thibodeau hired this entire coaching staff. There's an entire new energy around this New York Knicks. It's not the traditional Knicks that we're used to, that where the roster, the players, the coaches, the front office are not on the same page. It seems like they're all cohesive and in the same mindset, and that is why they're succeeding right now. So Knicks fans, we should be excited. I'm excited for the Knicks to just keep up the momentum. Stay tuned for more Knicks content on CK and mine's channel. I will be live for Friday Night Knicks during the OKC Thunder and the Knicks game here on my channel. If you guys are not subscribed to CK, make sure you do so and subscribe to Knicks Media as well. That does for the stream. If you guys did not hit that like button and you enjoyed CK and I, make sure you run up the like button. If we can get over 200 likes, that would be awesome. We're at 181 right now. So run up those like button if you want to see us continue going live every week or so. So CK, thanks again, my man, for joining in. Always a pleasure.
Bro. Yes, man. I love doing this, man. It's a lot of fun. Anytime, man.
All right. Peace out, everybody. Let's go, Knicks.
5-3, baby.
Go New York. Go New York.